Nitrates are groundwater contaminants derived from fertilizer, septic tank, and other sewage. Nitrate poisoning is particularly hazardous to infants under the age of 6 months. The maximum contaminant level, MCL, is the highest level of a contaminant the government allows in drinking water. For nitrates, the MCL is 10 milligrams per liter. The health department wants to know what proportion of wells in Madison County that have nitrate levels above the MCL. A worker has been assigned to take a simple random sample of wells in the county, measure the nitrate levels, and assess compliance. What size sample should the health department obtain if the estimate is desired to be within 2% with 95% confidence if there is no prior information available? So the first thing we need to do is identify the formula here. So there's two different formulas. We have N times P hat times 1 minus P hat times Z sub alpha over 2 over E squared, and then we have N equals 0.25 times Z sub alpha over 2 over E, all of that squared. So where does the 0.25 come from in this formula is what typically get asked. So if we don't have a prior estimate, we just kind of assume that maybe it's 50%. So if we plug in 50% here for P hat, .5 times 1 minus 0.5, we get 0.25, and then times all this stuff squared. Right, so that's where that formula comes from. So I'm going to erase all of this since we don't need that, since we have no prior information available. So if you forget that one, you can use the other one and just use 0.5. Right, so a couple things we need to know. What is Z sub alpha over 2? What is E, right? So if we wish to be within 2%, right, this 2% here tells us that E is 0.02. So now we have to find Z sub alpha over 2. So that comes from the 95% confidence. So again, if we kind of think about this, so draw on our curve here. We have 0.95 in the middle. We have 5% left over. So in each of our tails here, we have 0.025. Right? So if we do 1 minus 0.95 and then divide it in 2, we have the 0.025. And again, Z sub alpha over 2 is going to be this one over here. This one would be negative Z sub alpha over 2. So if we use inverse norm, we would add those two together. It would give us the area to the left of this value, right? So Z sub alpha over 2, we're going to do inverse norm of 0.025 plus 0.95, comma 0, comma 1, since we're working with Z values, right? So second bars, number 3, 0.025 plus 0.95, comma 0, comma 1, close parenthesis, and we get 1.96. So that's our Z sub alpha over 2. So now I can plug that in, we have everything. So N equals 0.25, Z sub alpha over 2 is 1.96, E is 0.02, and let's type all that in our calculator. So 0.25, open parenthesis, 1.96 divided by 0.02, close parentheses, squared, enter. And we get 2401. So normally it doesn't happen where we get an exact value. So remember that if you come up with a decimal, you always want to round up. So if you have the slightest bit of decimal, you're going to round up there. So looking at the next part here, we want to know what size samples should the health department obtain if the estimate is desired to be within 2% with 95% confidence. If a study conducted 2 years ago showed approximately 7% of the wells in Madison County had nitrate levels exceeding the MCL. So I wrote down our information as going through that. So we have a different formula this time, same idea, and same confidence level. So we already know Z sub alpha over 2. So we're just going to plug everything in here. So P hat is the previous value, so that is 0.07, then 1 minus P hat. Z sub alpha over 2 was 1.96, and E is 0.02, and then square. So let's type that in our calculator and see what we get. So 0.07, parenthesis 1 minus 0.07, close parenthesis, open parenthesis, 1.96 divided by 0.02, close parenthesis, and square. So we get, this is 625.2204. So even though if we were to round this, we would round to 625, we always round these up. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the condition. So anytime we're working sample sizes, we're always going to round up. So we need to sample 626 people.